एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभव निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सेवं गुर प्रसाद। धन धन गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी महाराज, धन गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहिब। भूल क्षमो हमरी प्रवापन, भूलनहार कहाँ को मोसो। हवाए बंद की आवर दर वजूद मरा, वगर न जोके चुनी आमद नमूद मरा। काहे रे बन को जन जाई, सरब निवासी सदा ले पातो संग साई। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। Death and how, what is the art of dying? We have done some subjects close to death earlier, and I think the most feared subject which we have in our lives is death. The most enigmatic, what we don't know much about, and we assume things. It is safe to say that if there was no death, there would be no God. And if there is a understanding of death, then it has to relate to life. Because life and death are two connected aspects. In fact, some people say that it is not life that we are traversing. It is a journey to our own death that we are into. That life is actually a journey to our own death. Every breath we take and every time we spend, we get closer to our death. And so, it is a very painful subject for us. Painful, fearful, and confusing. And then we are willing to make a guru, to take decisions about life, knowing that we may understand death and we may transcend it. In all traditions which are in the East, born in the East, Buddhism, Hinduism, there is a life after death. In fact, Buddhism and Hinduism talk about mukti. Mukti is freedom from pain, from death. Sikhism also talks about mukti, but there is a difference in the approach. We will visit that later. Everything that is born will die. In fact, he says, Jo dise so kale karna. Everything which we can see is within time, within death, and will be destroyed and changed. All of life which we are seeing, which we are experiencing, is in flux, in change. And sometimes we take advantage of this change for our own benefit. Sometimes it is a loss to us. So every loss in life is a reflection of death. We have lost some money. We have a relationship loss. We have status loss. That has to do with death. And what do we know about life? In its incompleteness, the confusion which we are in, we avoid the subject of death. It's natural because we don't have an answer. Some time ago, a good friend of mine passed away, and a relative of his was telling me that there is nothing else beyond death. It all finishes there. I didn't say anything at that time. It was a very painful period for everyone. But is this an assumption, or are we aware of all this? That makes a difference. Am I assuming that there is no life after death, or have I known it? There lies the difference. And we don't know because we live in the senses. We live in the physical world. We see, touch, feel, hear. That is everything which is changing. And that has everything to do with life, not with death. We are taught to live life, not to live death. A death is a subject which is kept away from the city, kept in the corners, kept on the side, so nobody talks about it. Two issues which are energizing our society today. One is death, the other is sex. In most societies, they are suppressed. These subjects are not discussed. They're not talked about. When a child would ask what has happened at the time of someone's death, we will give some cryptic answers, gone to God. We don't have this answer ourselves. Where has the person gone? Guru Nanak was asked by the Siddhs in Hoshiarpur, Achal is their temple there where they congregate for Shivrat in February, March every year. And they ask Maharaj, kahan te aave? Kahan hai jave? Kahan hai rahe samai? Where does human being come from? Where does he go? And where does he find rest? Maharaj says, hukme aave, hukme jave, hukme rahe samai. He says in hukam everything, in order of the Creator. This is the issue. That life is controlled by a certain element which we don't know much about. We don't know what is hukam. This is just a word for us. And when Guru Nanak Sahib talks about life in totality, he says that you can know the key to life by living in raza of hukam, by living in awareness of hukam. Hukam razai chalna. Nanak likhya naal. Now, if there is a hukam, if there is the order to creation, then there is life and then there is death. These are the two elements which are on a macro level the most impactful and vibrant energies of life. In fact, Maulana Rumi says that creation has 2 feet. One is life and the other is death. And all these people who seem to know about life after death keep saying, don't worry about death as much as we do. What is the reason they say that? And how do I just assume and take somebody else's direction and say, okay, let's not worry about it? What is it that is different from his knowledge and my knowledge about life? What is life is also known to me only partially. What is my experience of life? That is what I know about life. I don't know life in its completeness. There are so many elements of life I am not aware of, even in the physical world. Leave alone that there is a spiritual or a atmic world. So how does one solve this journey? If Guru says hukam, razai, he is talking about acceptance. He is saying, don't live in denial. In modern psychology, when we talk about death and how to deal with death, it is assumed to be grief, and time will heal. So we use the tools of coping with death by sharing, letting time heal. But we don't know what is beyond the curtain of life. We have not seen that. In one of the lines in Guru Granth Sahib, he says, "Is man ko koi khojo pai, tan chute man kahan samai." See within your mind. tan chute, when the body departs from the man, where does the man go? How do I know this? So my life is more connected to the man than to the physical body. This is the first experience we must know. That means the physical body is a temporary phenomena, a transient phenomena, but I assume it to be permanent. So this is the difference between my assumptions and the acceptance of hukum. If I accept there is death, in the Mahabharata there is a question, the Yaksh Prashan. Yudhishthira is asked these questions by the Vetal. And one of the questions is Kim Ascharyam. What is really shocking? What is really alarming? And he says it is alarming that people go to somebody's death and they don't think that that will happen to them. We all go to cremations and we talk about how the traffic was a lot. We talk about whether it's hot or cold. We do not talk about what has happened right in front of us. Where is this person gone who was in this body? Where is he now? We don't ask this question. Gurbani raises this issue. Bolte the kahan gaye? Somebody was talking in this physical body. Where is he or she? What is the change which happens and how do we understand this? We have this, in tradition in the Katha Upanishad, there is this story of Nachiketa. Nachiketa is a celebrated personality. And in that, the most revered thing about Nachiketa was that he goes to the god of death and he asks what is beyond death. And supposedly, Yam gives him a darshan of Atma and tells him that there is a permanence beyond death. Nachiketa is a very celebrated story. When we grew up and learnt our Hindi lessons, Nachiketa was one subject. In the Chinese tradition, there is a very beautiful story of 3 monks. This is really, they used to have, go to these villages and just laugh. They would inspire laughter. In the whole village used to start laughing with them, only then they would depart. Laughter was their discourse. It was their exchange. It was the way they talked about beyond death. One of these 3 monks died and everybody became very serious and the whole lot of people got together. Only they were alarmed that the rest of the 2 were laughing. And so they asked him, why are you laughing? He says, because he had a bet with us yesterday that who will depart first. And he has cheated us. And they kept laughing. The monk gave instructions that he should be burnt without being bathed. And then they burnt him, and he had tied himself with all these firecrackers. And the cremation ground became a celebration ground. What is the message about laughter that is so potent? Maybe there is something we miss about life in its essence, which is conveyed through this laughter, which doesn't need any logic to it. It's like instinctively built into our DNAs, our own atmas, our own presence. That all of life is celebration. Guru Amar Das, when he talks about life, He says life is Anand. The reality of life is Anand. But we live two dimensions. One, we live the changing dimension. And one is the unchanging dimension. We don't know this. We don't know that experience of life where there is only celebration of life. We don't know where is the Atma. It's just a cryptic word. I have never seen the Atma. You have not seen the Atma. When someone dies, we don't see any departing Atma. As man ko koi khojo pai. We know the mind, we know the man. This is our potent adhesive so we can know what ties the death and life together is the man. What ties the body and the Atma together is the mind. And by the mind, I don't mean the cells in the brain. I mean the dimension where the physical doesn't exist. All the aspects of death, all the aspects of life are defined by certain rules, and the physical life is defined by the qualities of the dimensions, the names, the shape and form. This defines life to us. But we don't know. When there is no shape and form, we don't have any insight. If you really analyze it, if I say, how do we see? Someone will say, through the eyes. We see through the eyes, but eyes don't see. If my mind is not present and you pass by, I will not see you. We experience life through the man, through mind. Mind is maybe a different word, but man is a very potent word. The body lives in the man. That's why they call this the aura. Maharaj, living life incompletely gives us the fear of life. If we go to see a play or if we go to see a movie, we don't break down when the movie ends and we have to come back. We don't, because we accept that there is an ending and there is a beginning. But in life, there is a beginning and ending, and we break down when the ending comes to us. Because we don't accept that there is death with life. We have accepted partially life in its only the elements which we know. So ignorance is our fear of death. Then Bhagat Kabir announces it when he says, Jis marne te jag dare, mere man anand. He says that which the world is fearing, the death, my mind is in bliss, thinking about death. Marne hi te paiye puran paramanand. Only on death will I meet my Creator completely. Because this physical form is also a hindrance in some ways. If I have a pain in my body, it will take my dhyan away. Where is my dhyan? This is one energy of life. Please note it down. We will use this energy to understand death. Because death has to do with dhyan. Somebody was here some time ago, is not here now. His or her dhyan is gone from here. Dhyan is the focused energy. And how does the mind deal with this? Maharaj was asked this question. Jab a hirde deh na hoti, tab man kothe rehta. Siddh Gosht is the Bani in the Guru Granth Sahib, where the Siddhs have in 4 places dialogued with Guru Nanak Maharaj. And this is one of the questions, that if there is no body and frame, heart, chest, where does the mind go? Where does it stay? Hirde dehna hoti odu, man sun reha beragi. When there is no body and there is no heart, space for the heart, where the mind is, it goes into sun. So it collapses. The mind collapses into itself. It has no expression left for interacting with the world. Man is there, but it collapses. So death and life, understanding of this has everything to do with knowing the mind. If we know what is the mind, the structure of the mind, then we can maybe crack this code. That is why Guru keeps saying, "Is man ko koi khojo pai." Man jeete jag jeet. Aaron mat ved hathyar. Again and again and again, he talks about the man and the relationship with me and my mind. What is death? What is life? It can be known if we know our own mind. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib says, Jan Nanak ko gur ahmad dini, jap har pav jal tarna. Maharaj says, bin apa chine mite na pram ki kai. Jan Nanak bin apa chine. Without knowing what is within me, bin apa chine, the false, the deceit, deception will not go away. It is deception. This whole creation which we know is full of deception in some ways, because we think this is the truth which we live. Guru says, Jag rachna sab jhoot hai. Sab jhoot hai. Jaan le ho re meet. Kaho Nanak thir na rahe, jo balu ki peet. And when Guru Sahib talks about the experience of life, his fundamental word is Sach, Satnam. That which doesn't change, that which is forever. So when we go to Guru, when we go to Sadhu, he doesn't talk about the transient life as the material and ending of life. For him, everything which is forever is valuable. Otherwise, it is not valuable. It is an experience. It has its own value, but it's not invaluable. It's not the complete knowledge of life. So in this way, we are expecting something from life which it cannot deliver. This is our crisis. We want forever. Family, love, joy, happiness, everything is forever for us. But this life which we are living cannot deliver this, because our life is not forever, fundamentally, first of all. And secondly, creation lives on two legs. In the mythology, they call it Dvait, the second, the other. In the senses world, the other is the more relevant for us to understand and experience life. So the other is always there. And we don't know why we have to go and seek a guru. For what? I am aware of what is life. I know, I have knowledge. Why should I seek a guru? For what? Maharaj says that this is our fundamental nature. Nanak Guru na chetani. Man apne suchet. Chute tilbuar jo sunje andar khet. Khete andar chutiye kaho Nanak sona hai. Maharaj says that my fundamental nature is why I need a guru. Nanak Guru na chetani. Man apne suchet. My man is aware. But he says this is a fundamental flaw. It's like the sesame seed plant in the field, which does not give any seeds, and it rots with itself. The farmer doesn't take it out also. This is how life becomes without Guru. But the experience of Guru, need of Guru, we'll arrive at that little later. Our first issue is, what is death? And when we say what is death, we need to know what is life. Because life is what transcends into death, which meets death. Maharaj has talked about life and death being a part of hukam. Janma marna hukam hai. Jamman maran hukam hai. This is part of the order of creation, Jamman maran. And where do I take birth from? How does this happen? I don't know these things. I can assume what Guru is saying. Now, can I find a part of my mind which is unchanging, which is no change in it? Because if I can, then maybe I will find an aspect of creation which is not changing. And I don't know that. I only know my thoughts as my man. I don't know thoughtless mind. There is no such thing which we know. I only know life through I am. If I am not, then life is not. Because my whole experience of life is through I am. What is the pillar on which life is built? Is it only change, or does change happen on something which is constant? Like Archimedes said, give me a point and I can rotate the whole earth. Give me one stable point. Is there a stable point in my life where all this change is happening? Because how does the change happen? How does the man go from one change to another, then another? It has to have something which is unchanging. Otherwise, how it will happen? I don't know any aspect of me which is not changing, Maharaj. I don't know life beyond the ego, beyond I am. And this is hukam. Jamman maran hukam hai, paane aave jaye. And by the order of the hukam, I go and I come. So let us see this changing mind first. We know Karam world. Everybody knows what Karam is. We all have this built into our traditions in the East about doing and getting what we are doing. Karam. But in my view, it is overplayed. Karam is one aspect which we live. And what is this? Punni papi akhad na hai, kar karna likh la jao. Aape beej aape hi khao, nanak hukmiya ho jao. I am the doer. I, being the doer, am right or wrong, judged by dharam. Dharam being the order. If there is, I'm driving on the wrong side of the road in a country where the laws are opposite, then that is my karam. And the dharam is the law of that land, where I will be judged. Similarly, in emotional plane, there is a judgment. If I hurt someone, then it will bounce back at me. That is how it is built in. Khalak khalak ki jaan ke, khalak dukhaye nahi. Khalak dukhe nandlal, khalak ko peta hai. Knowing the creation, a part of the creator, don't hurt the creation. Otherwise the creator will curse you. Khalak khalak ki jaan ke, khalak dukhaye nahi. Khalak dukhe nandlal, khalak ko peta hai. By Nandlal. Persian. Similarly, in every plane of my life, there are rules I have to live. If I have to run a business, there is a certain rules of the game. If I have a transaction of a relationship, there are certain rules of the game. Everywhere there are laws which govern and control my action and reaction, my doing and what I get. This is the Karam world where I am the doer. But what if I don't do? If somebody sleeps for 24 hours, doesn't do anything, that means his Karam are washed away. That means he has no wrong he has done. He will be better off than us at least. Because Guru says, Lekha ka to na chutti hai, hum khin khin pulanhar. So then non-doing is the solution to the life to life. Maharaj says that there is a nature built into life which I have to understand, and for that I have to do something. Understanding death, understanding life, understanding the enigma of life needs an effort. It cannot be just an exploration. It cannot be a mere curiosity. It has to be a serious effort. If it is a serious effort, it needs commitment and energy, like any subject in the world. And without that, this death and life answer will not be available to us. The approach of how a Sufi looks at life and how I look at life is diametrically opposite. And to figure this out, a certain effort and energy is needed. And then there is this environment where there is no ego. If there is such an environment, then I need help there because I am not. How can I be executing something where I am not? When I am relaxed, when I have no desire, I have no needs, I am not wanting anything, I am at peace. And that peace is so calming, it's so relaxing, it's such a nice feeling. And then I go back into life, I struggle, and the peace is gone. Any subject I go into needs stress, needs effort, needs a coping mechanism for disappointment, because we get disappointed by life. Where is the answer to these things? So I live my life, but I don't know life in its completeness. I don't know my own mind or man. I am not aware of what are the dimensions of my man. I only know the curtain of thoughts. That is my experience of life. And where I want to go, where my dhyan is, there I will go. That is very important. That is the nature of my man. If my body is acidic, it will invite cancer. If my body is not acidic, it will not invite cancer. If my mind is going in a certain direction, it will be inviting that aspect to my life. And if it has got to do with only this changing mind, experiencing of pleasure of life, experiencing the good, bad, and the ugly, and then that is it. Then I am only bound by the physical aspects of life. I don't know anything about beyond that physical aspect. And there the fear comes in. What if I don't get good food when I'm dead? I'll not enjoy my meal. What if there is no good music after death? What if I don't have a good career and I don't have money after death? I only know life by these experiences. So what is life? What happens in the womb of a mother? How does the spirit come in? And where is the spirit before that? इस मन को कोई खोजो पाई, तन छूटे मन कहाँ समाई. So Guru gives an indication of sun. What is sun? What is Sun Samadhi? Where the entire experience of everything which we have is correlated, assimilated, and it is detached from our environment. Let me assume for a minute that if everything I know about life, if I can withdraw myself from all of it, if I can withdraw my energies from the physical world completely and even the body, then what is left that death will take away from me? What is it that will go? Because I have detached myself from the physical, from my relationships, from my family, from my business, from my money, from my ownership. There's a nice shabad of Bhagat Kabir. And he says, look at life, how it is. Aisa hai sansar pekhna, rehn na ko upaiye re. He says, first thing is that there is no one who will stay here. So we are all transiting through life. But we don't accept that. That's not the raza which we are living. If we accept that I can sleep today and not take birth, not get up in the morning, I wouldn't be able to sleep. So Nietzsche says there is a necessary illusion we built into our life, that I will get up in the morning, that I will go somewhere, I will reach there. But they are not. This illusion is an illusion, it's not a reality. A reality is that hum aadmi hai ek dami. Guru Nanak says we are people of one breath. Then the question happens, where does the breath come from? Am I breathing, or does breath come from somewhere? This is one question in Siddh Gosht. Maharaj has asked this question. Tresut angal vai kaiye. Teka kamanadaro. There's somehow they figured out this 37 fingers breath. Tresut angal vai kaiye. What is the basis of breath? Pavan ka vasa, sun nivasa, akal kala tarsoi. Maharaj says from sun. From the same sun which he talks about earlier, the experience of breath comes. So breath comes to us from an inner mind, which is the sun mind. We don't breathe on our own. That is how powerful we are. We can claim all the knowledge of the world, but every breath comes to us by some hukum, by some order, by some love. It has to do with love. It is giving away. By some rule, by some law. Jamna marna hukum hai. It is his hukum. It's the creator's hukum, the creation's hukum. I am not saying there is a person there. But then, if death ends our life and experience of life, then it is hopeless, literally. If there is an experience beyond death, then what is that experience? This one question which Guru Sahib talks about and says that one is wandering and the other is resting. He says, kahan te aave, kahan hai jaave? Where does he come from? Where does he go? This is the wandering. Who wanders? You and me wander. We are looking for something. Something which completes us, makes us restful. I had a task today at work. I went to work. I was able to complete it. I came away restful. I was not able to complete it. I came away disturbed. So completion gives me a rest, a stability. And so the more incomplete my life is, the more wandering my life has, the more unstable life will be. The more desires I have which are not completed, the more pains and sorrows which I carry, the baggage of life, the more unstable life will be. The more wandering it will be then. It will keep seeking for answers because it is seeking completeness. It's seeking that meeting point where the question came from. The answer has to come. Otherwise, the question will haunt us forever. And that's what happens to our lives. We are wandering from one life to another, to another, to another, just looking at those questions and answers and wanting the answers. Krishnamurti says, we are all looking for happiness. And we are looking for happiness forever. This life is not forever. That's known to us all. Everything else can be an assumption. But we know this as a fact that life is not forever. But we want it forever. So in this way, we are already in a conflict. We are already incomplete. We are already disturbed by this one aspect of life, that it is not forever. If I have an experience which is nice, then I want to extend it. I don't want to stop it. I don't want it for 10 minutes, for half an hour. So we want unconditional experiences which are not condition based, because everything which is condition based will change. If I'm happy because of a certain reason, I'm happy I had good food and enjoyed it. So that's a condition. If I don't get that food in the next meal, I don't feel so happy. So expectation is the way I live. And expectation builds disappointment. Gautam Buddha calls it Trishna. Desire. I desire. What I'm desiring is actually happiness. And I'm desiring it in a field where happiness is not permanent. Because all life we know, happiness is conditional. So it is not permanent. But I seek it thinking it is permanent. We've heard the story of Rabia. What does the Sufi say? Sufi says, I am not here forever, and nor are you. This man enters the room and he finds the Sufi sitting alone with no furniture. And he asks him why there is no furniture in the room. Where is your furniture? The Sufi says, where is yours? The visitor says, but I am only a visitor. The Sufi says, so am I. So what is he preparing for? He's preparing for death. But is he in denial of life? Do we need to be in denial of life to prepare for death? This becomes the second question. This becomes another question. First question is, what is the experience of death and how do I prepare for it? Where it doesn't pain me. Where the hurt is not there. Where the separation is not there. Where I still exist. That's my need. That's my question of life. And that's the most potent question of life. That will death take away everything I have? Or will there be something beyond death which I can know now? Mukti is a word which means freedom. And if you really look at karam, action and reaction, which we live, it is a trap. Kar karna, likh la jao. As you sow, so shall you reap. So your sowing itself traps you, traps us, traps me. Good or bad is irrelevant. For a minute, it is binding me to the action of sowing. Kar karna. As I do, I am bound by the result. So I am is a trap. Whether it is, and it is all seeking happiness. I am doing everything seeking happiness. So the moment I sow something or do something, I am bound by the result. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj in the Zafarnama asks Aurangzeb this question. Kuja Shahe Taimur Kujast. Kuja Shahe Taimur Babar Kujast. Where is Taimur? Is the descendant of Taimur, Aurangzeb. Where is Taimur? Where is Babar? Where is Humayun? Kuja. Where are they? This is what we want to know. What is there beyond life? Where are they gone? He says, Bibi gardishe bewafai zama. Aurangzeb, look at life carefully. Bibi gardishe, see life. Ke barhar baguzard makino maka. With time, the residence and the resident both vanish. Makino maka, ke barhar baguzard. As time flows, the resident, the person who stays in the house and the house both will vanish. Then what remains here, Maharaj? Guru talks about another kar. He talks about thir kar, nij thao. Dimensions which are not in our realm. These are the dimensions of the man. He says there is an aspect of the mind unchanging. Tirkar. Nijatao. Bhagat Kabir invites us, stabilize your mind, he says. Tukdam karari, jo karo, hazir hazur khudai. Bande khoj dil har roz, na fir pareshani maaye. So Bhagat Kabir in this Shabad says, Aisa hai sansar pekhna rehan na ko paiye re. And he talks about three dimensions of life. One is power, one is money, and one is age. He says death will flatten everything. Youth and aged both will be neutralized by death. Baade, boodhe, tarne, taiya, sabhu jam le jaiye re. Whether you are young or you are old, death will take away and make everything, level everything. Then he says, Raja Parja Sam Kar Mare. The powerful and the powerless become equal. So we should not assume that if we are an IAS officer in this world, the life beyond will treat us differently. Raja Parja Sam Kar Mare. Anuvantar Nirtan Mani. And the moneyed and the non-moneyed. Death will flatten everything. So death actually is a leveler. All this experience of life where we have created differences between us and the other, which is what makes life move, no, isn't it? Because we feel I am either better off or worse than the other. And that is what inspires us all. That I need to progress. Meaning what? Progress compared to what my neighbor is. That's how life is moving. We have much more than we need, but we keep wanting more progress. It's always the other which is guiding our life. Paul Sartre says, hell is the other people. This is the hell of life. फिरदौस में दोजक को मिला लो यार अब सैर करने की कुछ जगह और ही सही. In my heaven, let me add some hell. At least I'll get more space to walk. Ghalib. This is defining our lives. We are seeking happiness where there is no happiness forever. It is transient, it's temporary, it is there, but only partly there. Sukh dukh doye dar kapde pehre jaye manuk. Sukh ko mange sabko dukh na mange koi. Sukhe ko dukh agla manmukh booj na hoye. They live together. Dukh, happiness and sorrow live together. Life and death live together. Rumi says they live together. They are part of, as there is life, where there is life, there will be death. They are two legs of creation. So when I am living, it is not as though the end of life will bring death. Death is a constant companion. It's increasing its shadow day by day, day by day. And when I reach the 70s and 80s, then the shadow increases and there is only death in front of me. I don't see anything else. That's natural for me to assume now what is there ahead. That experience of the physical world is reducing as we go along. Then where does it lie, Maharaj? Kim Ascharya. Can this physical world help me know the non-physical world? Can there be a dimension which is beyond the three guns, the qualities defined by what I can see, feel, touch? Can I know the Atma? And how do I know the Atma? How can I know the unchanging within my mind? That is the key. And that is how we die. If a sadhu dies, he doesn't deal with death on a level where something which he has valuable is taken away from him. What I mean is that he has found something in life which death will not take away from him, where death has no control over him. In one of the Shabads, Bhagat Ravidas says, Meher Mahal na ko atkave, that I am living in the city of joy, Begumpura Sahir ko now. And this joy, no one has control over, who can block me from it. Meher Mahal na ko atkave. That is what Guru, Sadhu, Sant deals in. He deals in a life which is permanent, which is timeless, Akal Murat. He deals in joy which is unconditional, that is Anand. And he deals in love which is permanently available, unconditional love. Now, how can there be? How I can know this and how I can experience this? So Maharaj, the first thing is that can I know a mind of mine which is not moving? The dhyan, which is what I had earlier mentioned. Dhyan ki karo vibhoot. Can I know this man which is not wandering, which is now detached from desire? Krishna is gone, for even temporarily. Because if temporarily it can go away, it will energize me. It will give me peace. It will give me stability for that moment. It will give me certain energy, because energy is being spent with dealing with this life every day. Every moment of this life, I am dealing with this man which is constantly wandering, and it takes energy to deal with change. I have to shift my house from this house to another house. It will take energy. I have to get up from one chair and go to another. It will take energy. Every change needs a coping mechanism. And if there is no change needed, and if I get an answer to my fundamental question of life, I want happiness. And if that is available in that state, then my wandering ceases, no? I'm looking for happiness and I find it. I find it without doing. Something like the Walden Pond, Henry David Thoreau. My wandering pond may be within me. The Sufis call it the 11th direction. That day, someone asked me, how do I go within? Go beyond your thoughts. How do you watch the mind? See your thoughts and the mind will go away. Who is thinking? Where are these thoughts coming from? Who is the thinker in this thought? It's I. Like the cycles, we used to cycle when we were growing up. And when we stop cycling, the cycle will drop. इस मन को कोई खोजो पाई. So, answers to death, answers to life, answers to understanding the chaos of creation lies in a search which I need to initiate before we even go anywhere else. Because we get answers in the words, and we think we know. This is all experiential. Has to be experienced. Words will not. प्रीतम के देश कैसे बातन ते जाइए. The world of the beyond. How will you go with just words? You need experience. And you need to do. Puchak pathak. Pag nahi tare pag. He says he keeps asking, but he doesn't take one step towards finding the answer. Doesn't commit energy. Doesn't commit effort. Doesn't commit giving up something for finding the answer. If I need an answer, I will give up something. I'll say, no, this is my subject. I have to do physics. I have an exam coming. I'll give up my effort and prepare for the exam. Life and death is an exam. We can fail and we can pass. क्या पविए सच सूचा होए, सात शब्द बिन मुक्त न कोए. पैणी कहे सुनो रे भक्तों, मरण मुक्त किन पाई. Paini is a sant. In the Guru Granth Sahib, he says, after death, who will find mukti? Who knows? Within this life, you tell me what is mukti. Then I can understand what is this whole experience. Before I die, if I know the answer to death, that is the energy I am looking at. We are all seeking that. Because that is the power which no one else in this world will have. The Guru says that there is only one king in this world. There is only one power, one energy, one love center, one Anand center. And all of creation is a celebration. Every part of all creation, every part is a fundamental experience of Anand and joy. But I am wandering in Dukh and Sukh constantly. I am seeking it in the physical where it is not. So, if I get this answer, before I die, if I am already dead, in the physical body, I live this body, but I am dead from it. I have the ability to detach from it. Then I am dead from it. While living, if I have detached myself from all changing aspects of creation, then I'm dead to this world while living it. And it cannot take away anything from me which I have not given up on my own. If I have the ability to give it up when I want, then what can death take away from me? Suppose I can detach from the body, assuming for a minute. Body is the first thing which we know will go away. Suppose I can detach this experience of the body from my man. Then what will death take away from me? Suppose I find a thirkar, a nijthao within my mind, where I find a center of happiness, which is without reason. Then all my seeking of life, all the wandering of life, all the energy I'm committing and wasting, it all goes away. I can still experience life. I can still live life the way we are all living, happiness and sorrow. But knowing that there is a house I have, which is unchanging, which is full of Anand. Sat Chit Anand. That's the answer to death. How do I die, Maharaj? Marta marta jag mua, mar bhi na jane koi. In this one Shabad of Bhagat Kabir, when he says this, gives away these three dimensions. He says death will level everything. Then he says, Har ke sevak jo har pai. He changes the gear of the flow of life, Maharaj. Tin ki katha nirari re. There is a beauty in those who have found the Creator and connected to Him. Har ke sevak jo har pai. Tin ki katha nirari re. Their story is beautiful. It's rare. It's exceptional. And what is that story? Ave na jaye na kabhu marte. They don't wander. Ave na jaye na kabhu marte. Nor do they die. Par Brahm Sangari re. And they live with the Creator permanently. If someone was to ask me, where is Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj? What would be the answer of someone who knows? He would say, Guru is everywhere. There is no part of creation where Maharaj is not. Guru means someone who doesn't die. We know birth and death of Guru, but Guru is not a body. Now let me go to one more dimension. Ras. We talk about ras. What gives us joy? What gives us joy in life is ras. If we take away all that gives us happiness in life, there will be no ras left in life. Somebody finds joy in playing football. Somebody finds joy in playing chess. Somebody finds joy in studying chemistry. There is a joy, there is a ras in that which sustains life. And those who don't find that may want substance, some ras. I will want some intoxication of life. Otherwise, I don't sustain life. It's a basic need we all have. We find appreciation as a ras. Somebody appreciates us. We get empowered. I am good. See, I am good. Somebody appreciates me. I got this award. I dance well. I sing well. So these are all ways of how we get empowered and get life, emotions of life, the ras of life. And then in death, all this goes away. In death comes all this experience which we have, goes away. Because some fundamental thing about life is that everything which life will give me, it will take it away. Whatever relationships we have, whatever money we have, everything is gone. We saw a head of a big organization died in London at a young age. Gone. All the 800 crore, 1,000 crore, 15,000 crore becomes zero. These are just pillow covers we all have. We sleep with this heroin in our head that I have this many crores. I have nothing. The moment breath is gone, nothing is left. I only have this as a caretaker, as a transient experience. Or if I use the word, as a homestay, not a home. I've come to a homestay, somebody else's, the owner of the house. We are all like that. But I don't assume that. My experience tells me this is my home, this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my children, this is me. All of life is this. When all this will go away, what will life be, Maharaj? Sufis say 11th direction. There are 10 directions outside, 11th is inward. Maharaj tells us that Jag Rachna sab chut hai. When he says chut, he says it is only temporary. It is there, temporarily there. If I know this, that I have to die one day, and I am prepared for that death, like I go to see a movie or a play, I know I have to come away, then there is no crisis. I don't have any conflict then to leave the theater and come home, because that is assumed that I have to come home. So is there a home in my man which is permanent, which I can go to when I die, when I leave the physical body? Sant Bhavatar Singh Ji was bitten by a snake here in Delhi. In operating, he was passing away and people were crying. And he said, you think me to be body, but I am not the body. Body is my temporary homestay. So I have an experience which is beyond the body, which is beyond the physical, which is beyond the senses. So something will go away from this world. But I am not left empty. I am fulfilled, because there is this source which is within me is not without qualities. It has certain qualities and dimensions to it, and one of them is joy, Anand, which is an absolute experience. So one of the indications of meeting the Creator is meeting unconditional happiness. When I can bring my dhyan into Shabad. Shabad is my Guru. Na o mare na thake jaye, jinke Ram vase man maaye. Nor do they die, nor are they at any loss in life, if they have found the Creator within themselves. And then I have to open this door. Guru says there is a door which between the physical and the Atma, and the ras which we were talking about. He says Atma has its own ras. Atma has its own joy, its own reasons. The reasons are not physical, but there is an Atma which is more powerful than the physical, and it has the reason to exist. Completeness is the reason. I find something which I was looking for, in earnest, desiring, wanting, needing. I find it at home. Bahar tundat bahut dukh paya. While I seek outside, I get a lot of pain. But Amrit is within me. Kat Amrit karma hai jiyo. That Amrit is within us. Amrit means non-dying state. The unchanging mind over which this change is happening. Yes, I don't know it, but I have to make this whole exercise is to try and understand that we all need to make an effort to know this mind. If any of you have any questions, please go ahead and keep posting them. That will make it easier for me to address them before the session ends. So if I've understood this, that there is within me an answer to my wandering, an answer to my pain, an answer to my fears, and I can find it within me, then I need to make this effort. And a conscious effort, organized effort. Like I do a medical course, an engineering course, this course of death and life. Kar kasa darshan ki pook, main dar mango neeta neet. Every day I want, I'm asking. Tohi darshan ki karo samaye, eh dar mangat pikhya paaye. I want this darshan. And this darshan is my need, my desire, my hunger. Is breath and swas same or different? Same. Samadhi is made of three things: breath, surt, and shabad. This avastha of sun which Guru Nanak Sahib talks about is available to us in the dimension of swas, surt, and shabad, the meeting of these three. Maharaj, when I seek, when I want, when I know, I find my happiness within me. The dimension within my man. Then I found my answers, my completeness, my rest. My wandering goes away. Kya pav ye sat sucha hoye, saach shabad bin mukt na koi. So now I need shabad as the Guru. Because the Guru is what exists beyond I. I am powerless in that realm because I don't exist there. There something else exists. The road to the Atma is called Naam. And Name, haumai, Name, Naal Birod hai. Wohi na bas ekta hai. And the ego and Naam are in conflict. They don't live together. Where I am, Naam will not be. Where Naam is, the ego will not be. Bodhidharma was a teacher of Buddhism. He went from India to China. He is the one who carried Buddhism to China. And the first interaction he had with the king asked him, I have made so many stupas to Buddhism. What will I get? Bodhidharma says nothing. You will get nothing. And the king became very angry. And he said, who are you to say what I will get? And he said, I don't know. He was giving honest answers, but he was thrown out of the kingdom. Rightly so. The king was all powerful. Ego is very powerful. It can throw away the other's opinion. Ego does this only. That is why ego creates pain. And Bodhidharma is the foundation of how the Shaolin temple, he meditated for 9 years there when he was thrown out. Kung Fu, if you see Kung Fu, they bow with one hand. That is related to Bodhidharma. He meditated facing a wall, and his disciple said, either you turn around or I will cut my hand. And he cut his hand. And the snow became red. That is what Bodhidharma said. So Kung Fu, when they bow with one hand, that is with reverence to this one disciple of Bodhidharma. What is the experience of Shabad and state of Sun? It can't be said and experienced. These are all experiences beyond words, beyond dimensions. Meeting the Shabad and Guru, we need to prepare the dhyan first. This is the key. The problem which all of us have is we don't have dhyan. We have wandering mind. Now in Gurbani he says, Amrit Bani Har Har Teri. Your Bani is Amrit. It is beyond death and it is full of joy. Sun sun hove param gat meri. So the dhyan has to be found by sunnah, by listening. We don't listen. We keep talking. Even before the answer comes, we have another question. We only have questions. We don't want to listen to the answers. Maharaj says Sunna is the empowerment of the man. Absorb the answers of creation. Absorb the Shabad. Gaviye suniye. This will take us into Dhyan. This is the foundation on which creativity, life, experience of beyond death exists. Gaviye suniye, man rakhiye pao. Dukh par har, sukh kar le jaye. This is the house, the sukh da kar. I've taken too much time, maybe. So I'll conclude. The Shabad and Surt is the two experiences which are necessary, which are important, which are critical. And for that we need Dhyan. The Shabad of the man will meet the Surt is what is the Dhyan of the man. And Shabad is the empowered Guru. Doesn't need to be physical Guru. And this will make us transcend the ego mind, the changing mind, the dying mind, to the undying mind. If we die in Shabad, we never die. If we die, my ego dies, it merges with Shabad. The ego gets dissolved with Shabad. Haumai Shabad jalai. And I am is gone, then I have no fear of life. Then there is no death, because death will take away I. Guru, God sees our bhavna as we hear. So love is what we feel for anyone. This is the reason. This is in the senses. Love in the senses is one with the reason, but Guru is love without reason. Sikh and Guru's relationship beyond time, beyond death. You can feel the presence of Guru with stable mind. Then what does it mean when you say beyond senses? Beyond senses means that when there is no physical senses, no experience of the outside physical world, when there is experience of the inner world, when you shut your eyes, moond liye darwaze, baaj yele anhad baaje. Then I have connected to the inner current of life by disconnecting from the outside. An experience which is beyond the ego. For that we need Shabad and Surt. जैसे जल में कमल निरालम मुर्गाई ने साने सुरत शब्द पव सागर तरिए नानक नाम बखाने. So my submission is this experience of Surt is what is lacking in us all. If we are able to harness this energy of this man and make it dhyanast in Shabad, stable in Shabad, then the Amrit, the experience of Amrit can open by Gur Prasad. This is not by my doing, by his doing, by the Creator's Gur Prasad that all this happens. And that can happen only when my mind is stable. My mind is aware of the Surat Man, the non-moving mind, and connects to Shabad. Then it transcends the senses world and takes me to the Thirkar, the Dasam Dwar. Maharaj, I have taken a long time today, so I will conclude the session for now. If you have any questions, please post them. Then we will conclude with an ansab. So So the awareness of Shabad and Surat, how Maharaj says, Gaviye, Suniye, Man Rakhiye Pao. Sing this Shabad, listen to this Shabad with my eyes closed, all my senses absorbed in Shabad. By saying it out loud, Vakri Bani, initially. And then this becomes internalized, the Shabad. Jav Ojapa Jape. And then it keeps working on the Man, the Shabad. Unconsciously, while I work in the physical world, Shabad works in my inner world. Kadiye Shabad Sachi Taksal. It keeps chiseling my mind of its corruptions, of its deceptions, of its falsehood, and cleanses the mind. Naam cleanses the mind, Maharaj says. Like we cleanse our clothes, we clean the body. Like that, Naam cleanses the mind. So if I am in Naam and I absorb the Shabad, so what you can do is choose a Shabad or do the Mool Mantar. When you have completely detached from everything outside, do the Mool Mantar for some days. In darkness, by yourself, alone, go within. And a new dimension will start opening. And who knows? Guru opens the door for us. Dasam dwar kunchi jab dije, tab dayal ko darshan kije. Sagal pavan ke nayaka ik chin tars dikhaye ji. He shows us the Atma, the Atam Ras je janiye. So the Atma has a Ras that gets opened. So hai Khalas Dev. Prabh mein, moh mein, taas mein, ranchak nahe na ped. Maharaj says this Atma has its own Ras. We can live this physical world, we can experience it, we can live this joy and sorrow. But while doing that, we have an inner experience which is far more empowering than the outside experience. And that's what dominates the man, the thirgar. Is man ko koi khojo pai, tan chute man kahan samai. Aaron mat ved hathyar. Stable mind and Shabad Guru. Suniye maniye man kita pao. Listen to the Shabad intently. Focused mind. Ignore your thoughts and dhyan will start coming. And our dhyan will get internalized. It will become a natural state. And dhyan and Shabad are the experiences we are waiting for, we are looking for to open this key of life. To solve this question of death. Long time today. I apologize for so much time I have taken. If you have any questions, please post them. Otherwise, we will conclude with Anand Sahib. If somebody can do the Anand Sahib. Somebody new also, most welcome. If anybody wants to do the Anand Sahib. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. If no one else is there, Gagan or someone can please volunteer. So we do the Anand Sahib. Every session ends with Anand. If life is lived with Shabad, ends with Anand. Happiness. Whatever may be the physical conditions of life. Maharaj. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Thank you so much.